Welcome back to Financial Philosophy. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive, really getting into that constant tension between, well, acquisition and intention. The core challenge, I think, for a lot of us is how do you truly own your life? How do you stop letting the possessions you acquire sort of define and ultimately control you?
Oh, that tension is absolutely real. I mean, just look around us, right? If you, the listener, think about your screens, the streets you walk down, even just scrolling through social media. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything is just saturated with this one, persistent, almost aggressive message.
But buy.
Buy.
Buy more, buy the new thing, buy this trend that's going to be gone next week, buy status, buy happiness, supposedly.
And it's just relentless, isn't it? That whole system, it promises fulfillment, but the reality, often it's completely the opposite. We find ourselves, burdened by debt, maybe drowning in clutter at home. There's that financial anxiety humming in the background.
And ultimately, you're often left with that kind of gnawing sense of emptiness after the initial thrill of the purchase wears off.
Yeah, the buyer's high fades fast.
Exactly. We get stuck on this, consumer hamster wheel, and it feels like it's powered entirely by desire that someone else manufactured for us.
It is exhausting. And that constant noise, that pressure, it's precisely why having a philosophy, a structured approach is so essential if we want to reclaim some control.
Yeah.
And we've seen two really powerful responses emerge, I think, in recent years. Both offer a path back towards intention.
Which are?
Minimalism and conscious consumerism.
Okay, so minimalism and conscious consumerism. On the surface, you could say they seem like they're tackling the same problem.
They do, yeah.
They both challenge that mindless, automatic accumulation of stuff.
Right.
They both demand that we develop a more thoughtful, intentional relationship with everything we own. And look, both, if you apply them correctly, they can lead to a more meaningful life and definitely a more financially sound one. But their motivations are different, aren't they?
Absolutely distinct. That's the core difference we need to unpack. Minimalism.
Oh.
Think of it as the journey inward.
Inward.
Yeah. It's fundamentally, you could almost say selfish, but maybe in the best possible way. Because its core question is always, how does this possession affect my life, my space, my peace of mind? It's really the art of subtraction. It's focused on personal liberation, clarity, cutting away the noise.
Okay, so minimalism looks inward, focuses on me. What about conscious consumerism, then?
Well, if minimalism looks inward, conscious consumerism looks radically outward. Its driving question is, how does this possession affect the world?
The world? How so?
Meaning, the person who actually made it, the planet we all share. This philosophy is all about collective responsibility. It's about ethical considerations.
Right.
It's about ensuring your spending power, your dollars, actually contribute to building a fairer, healthier global system.
Got it. So inward versus outward focus. That's the key distinction.
Precisely. And our mission today isn't just to define these terms. We want to really dissect them. Look at the surprising facts, the psychology behind each one.
Yeah, dig a bit deeper.
Exactly. We want to give you, the listener, the tools, the perspectives to forge your own profound, personalized financial philosophy. One that's rooted in your deepest values, not just some rigid dogma.
And avoids those pitfalls of feeling restricted or guilty.
Right. Achieving true intentionality, whatever it looks like for you.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this, starting with that really personal internal journey of subtraction, the art of less.
Okay, so minimalism. At its absolute heart, it is not about deprivation. That's a common misconception.
Right. It's not about sitting in an empty room.
Not at all. It's really the intentional, sometimes even ruthless prioritization of what you value most. And that's combined with the equally intentional removal of absolutely everything that distracts you from those core values.
So it's a direct pushback against that chaotic consumer culture we talked about.
A comprehensive rebuttal, yeah. And we really need to stress this. It's not about owning nothing. It's about ensuring that everything you do choose to keep has truly earned its place.
Okay, earned its place. And the foundation for that you mentioned earlier is radical intentionality. That sounds intense. But what does that curation actually look like in practice beyond, the Instagram aesthetic of clean white walls and maybe one perfect succulent?
Right. It's a rigorous test. It really is. Every single object you own or consider owning has to pass it.
Okay, what's the test?
You have to ask, is it genuinely useful? Is it truly beautiful to me? Does it actively support the kind of life I am intentionally working to build?
Useful, beautiful, supports my life goals.
And if the answer to any of those is a lukewarm maybe or even a clear no, then that object becomes a liability. It's clutter.
Okay.
Think about the capsule wardrobe idea. Instead of having, say, 50 mediocre clothing items you kind of like.
Yeah, that you never wear half of.
Exactly. You might have 20 high-quality, versatile pieces that you absolutely love and wear constantly.
And that intentionality, it extends beyond just clothes.
Oh, absolutely. It applies to digital files on your computer, the apps on your phone, your schedule, even the commitments you make. Are they serving your core values?
Wow, okay. That reframes the home immediately, doesn't it? It stops being this, chaotic storage unit for past impulse buys or maybe desires you don't even have anymore.
Precisely. It transitions into a genuinely managed sanctuary, a space that supports you rather than drains you.
And the value of that shift, that brings us to the second major idea, which is maybe the most directly relevant for financial philosophy.
Which is?
The freedom from the cult of ownership.
Ah, yes. This is huge. We are so culturally conditioned, aren't we, to view ownership, especially of big-ticket items.
Like the bigger house, the newer car.
The overflowing garage, yeah. We see that as the ultimate sign of success. Status.
But minimalism challenges that directly. How?
By pointing out a really crucial, often overlooked fact, our possessions end up possessing us.
Possessions possess us. Okay, unpack that. I find this idea absolutely critical for anyone thinking about their financial philosophy, but let me challenge that slightly. If I own, say, a beautiful, expensive watch, maybe an heirloom, or a meticulously maintained classic car,
Yeah.
isn't that an investment sometimes? Or a source of genuine pride? Isn't it different from just clutter? Where's the line between a valued possession and a burden?
That's a fantastic question, and the line is drawn by that same radical intentionality we talked about.
Okay.
If that watch requires constant stressful servicing you can't afford, or if maintaining that classic car costs more in time, money, and stress than the genuine joy or potential financial benefit it provides, then it crosses the line. It becomes a burden.
So it's about the net effect on your life.
Exactly. Possessions impose these non-negotiable demands on us. There are three big ones.
What are they?
First, they demand time. Time for cleaning, organizing, maintaining, repairing, shopping for them in the first place.
Sure.
Second, they demand money. Not just the purchase price, but insurance, upkeep, repairs, storage costs, eventual replacement.
Right, the total cost of ownership.
And third, and this is the one we often forget, they demand mental energy. That low-level background stress of knowing the garage is a disaster or worrying about the mortgage payment on a house that's bigger than you need, that's a constant cognitive load.
Wow. Okay, so shedding the excess stuff, the stuff that doesn't pass the test, it achieves this kind of triple liberation.
Precisely. You get financial freedom, right? Less debt, lower living costs, more money available for savings or experiences.
Makes sense.
You get temporal freedom. You literally gain back the hours you used to spend managing clutter or maintaining things you didn't truly value.
More time for hobbies, relationships, whatever matters.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly, you get psychological freedom. Reducing the external chaos, the physical clutter, has this direct effect of reducing internal stress. It frees up mental bandwidth, leads to more clarity.
That clarity, that pursuit of liberation, that must feed into the next core idea.
It does, directly, which is quality over quantity.
Yeah, the classic minimalist mantra.
It is, and it's simple but powerful. Stop buying cheap junk. Invest instead in superior craftsmanship, things built to last, long-term value. This is actually a critical economic choice.
It's interesting because we often confuse saving money with just buying the cheapest possible thing, don't we?
We do. It's a trap.
But if you buy, say, a $20 pair of shoes that falls apart in 6 months
Right.
versus maybe a $200 pair that's well-made and lasts 5 years, the math changes dramatically.
Completely. The cheaper option in your example costs you $40 a year in cost per wear, right? The expensive option also costs $40 a year, but it probably performs better, looks better, feels better, and you didn't have to shop for shoes 9 extra times.
Yeah, the initial sticker shock is really misleading sometimes.
It is. This choice, quality over quantity, it's about favoring durability, maybe timeless design, and definitely long-term value over that immediate, fleeting high of just getting something new cheap.
The minimalist is thinking 5 years ahead, not 5 hours.
That's a great way to put it.
And, okay, so once that time and money are freed up, because you're not constantly chasing and managing material goods, where do those resources go?
they get redirected. And this leads to the next tenet, experiences over possessions.
Right, and this is where the science, the psychology of happiness really seems to back up the philosophy.
It absolutely does. Research in positive psychology consistently shows something fascinating. Material purchases the new gadget, the new clothes. We often provide an initial sharp spike of satisfaction.
Yeah, that feeling is real.
But that feeling decays surprisingly quickly. There's a phenomenon called hedonic adaptation.
Hedonic adaptation.
Yeah, basically, our brain quickly adjusts to the new thing, the new sofa, the new phone. It just becomes the new normal, the new baseline.
It fades into the background.
It does. And the result is, to get that same rush of novelty again, we feel like we need to buy another new, maybe shinier thing.
So it's a cycle.
It's the hamster wheel again. But experiences, things like traveling, learning a new skill, going to a concert, even just spending quality time with friends and family.
Yeah.
They provide happiness that seems to be both more intense initially and more enduring over time.
Why is that?
Well, experiences contribute more to our sense of identity, who we are. They often foster social connections, which are crucial for well-being. And importantly, their positive aspects often get enhanced when we remember them and talk about them later.
Okay. So we don't adapt to the memory of, say, climbing a mountain in the same way we adapt to owning a new television.
Exactly. The memory often gets better. The TV just gets older.
That's powerful. And connecting this back, minimalism isn't just some modern trend that popped up on blogs. This desire for inner composure, for less attachment to stuff, it's ancient.
Oh, deeply ancient. Look back at the Stoics in ancient Greece and Rome.
Like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius.
Exactly. Philosophers like them advocated for apatheia. Now, that doesn't mean apathy like we use the word today. It meant indifference or maybe equanimity towards external things, especially material goods.
Okay.
They argued that true happiness, true contentment, comes from internal virtue, from control over your own mind and reactions. External wealth, from their perspective, was largely irrelevant to your spiritual and moral health.
Wow. And there are spiritual connections too, right?
Absolutely. Think about Zen Buddhism, for example. There's a profound emphasis on simplicity, on mindfulness, on the beauty and function of the uncluttered open space.
Yeah.
That uncluttered space isn't just aesthetics, it's seen as a physical manifestation of a clear, uncluttered mind. So the physical act of decluttering itself becomes a kind of spiritual practice. Mindfulness in action.
And psychologically, bringing it to the modern day, this practice seems like a potent antidote to something many of us struggle with,
Which is
decision fatigue.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge modern drain on our energy. Think about it. When we have too many trivial choices to make all day long.
Like which of the 50 identical black t-shirts to wear.
Exactly. Or which of the dozens of apps on our phone to open first, or which streaming service to watch. Our finite mental energy, our willpower, it gets depleted by all these tiny, unimportant decisions before we even get to the truly important work or choices of the day.
So by ruthlessly simplifying their environment, reducing those trivial options, the minimalist is basically conserving precious mental fuel.
Precisely. Reducing the options frees up your brain. It allows you to focus your limited energy on meaningful choices, creative thinking, problem solving. It demonstrably reduces that background hum of stress and maximizes focus.
And one last point on the psychology, the physical act of decluttering itself. You mentioned methods like KonMari.
Yes, the spark joy method.
Right. That process where you physically touch every single item and ask if it sparks joy, that seems like more than just tidying up.
It is. It forces this profound, sometimes uncomfortable confrontation with your past self, with the choices you made, the money you spent.
Yeah.
Letting go of physical objects often requires you to let go of the emotional baggage attached to them. Maybe guilt over a wasted purchase. Maybe an identity tied to a hobby you no longer pursue. Maybe a reminder of a past relationship.
So it's a tangible exercise in self-discovery. Letting go of the physical helps you let go of the mental or emotional weight.
It can be incredibly powerful, yes, a very concrete way to process and move forward.
Okay, so that's a really thorough look at the internal journey, the art of subtraction, aiming for personal peace and clarity. But now, what happens if we shift our gaze? If we look outward and apply that same kind of intentionality, not just to our own lives, but to the entire global system behind the things we buy?
Now we move into the external journey. That brings us to the art of better, conscious consumerism. Right, so if minimalism is primarily about curating your internal life, conscious consumerism starts from a fundamentally different place. It's founded on the recognition that your personal spending decisions, your choices in the marketplace, are actually inseparable from the wider global reality.
Inseparable how?
The central idea, the really empowering one, is that every single purchase you make acts like a vote.
A vote, like in an election.
Exactly like that. Every dollar you spend is essentially casting a ballot. You're voting for the companies you buy from. You're voting for their labor practices, their environmental standards, the values they represent. You're voting for the kind of world you want to see thrive.
Wow, okay. That perspective completely transforms spending, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It goes from being just a passive reflex, maybe an impulse,
Right.
into an active tool for ethical change.
Yeah.
You're using your money to support what you believe in.
Precisely. So let's define the core tenets, the key ideas that really activate this philosophy. Starting with number 1, voting with your dollar as grassroots activism.
Okay.
This demands that you see your spending not just as isolated transactions, buying coffee here, groceries there, but as this continuous, cumulative stream of economic power that actively directs the market.
So give me an example. If I deliberately choose to buy, say, locally grown vegetables from a family-owned farm stand instead of imported ones from a huge supermarket chain.
You're casting a vote, you're actively endorsing local economic sustainability, maybe fairer wages within your community, reducing food miles.
Okay. Or if I choose a product that comes in minimal, maybe reusable or compostable packaging over one wrapped in layers of plastic.
You're sending a direct signal, a market signal to manufacturers that sustainability isn't just nice to have, it's a commercial necessity. Consumers are demanding it.
Got it. And that leads directly into the next point, which sounds like it requires more digging.
It does. It's the relentless focus on ethical sourcing and production.
Ethical sourcing.
Yeah. The conscious consumer feels compelled to peer behind the curtain, behind the polished marketing of a product, and ask those critical human questions.
Like what?
Like, who actually made this item? Were they paid a fair living wage? Were their working conditions safe? Were they treated humanely?
These are tough questions to answer sometimes. How do you even find out?
It can be difficult, absolutely. This is where things like certifications become really indispensable tools, especially for the learner trying to navigate this.
Okay, certifications
Like fair trade. And fair trade isn't just some feel-good sticker. It represents specific, measurable standards that have been independently verified.
What kind of standards?
Things like a guaranteed minimum price paid to the producers, which protects them from volatile market crashes. Often, it also includes something called a fair trade premium.
A premium?
Yeah, an extra sum of money paid on top of the price, which the workers or farmers themselves democratically decide how to invest back into their community, maybe for schools, healthcare, clean water projects, things like that.
Okay, so it's a mechanism for direct community benefit.
Exactly. But ethical sourcing goes beyond just fair trade. It involves trying to investigate the supply chain itself. Often you hear the term supply chain transparency.
Right. What does that really mean?
It means trying to understand where the raw materials came from, where the product was assembled, ensuring you're not inadvertently supporting, human rights abuses, child labor, or dangerous exploitative working conditions further down the line.
But hang on, a skeptical listener might be thinking, how on earth can an average person, just me shopping on a Tuesday, actually investigate a complex global supply chain for, like, a t-shirt? Isn't that job way too big?
That is an excellent point, and it highlights the very real difficulty. You're right, we can't individually become forensic auditors for everything we buy. It's impossible.
So what's the practical approach?
We have to rely on a combination of things. Third-party certifications like fair trade are crucial because they've done some of that verification work for us. We also rely on the commitment of companies themselves to be transparent.
So we look for companies that openly share information about their suppliers.
Yes. When a company makes its supply chain visible, even though it might open them up to more scrutiny, it's generally a positive sign. It shows they're willing, at least in principle, to be held accountable. A complete lack of transparency, on the other hand, that's often a red flag.
Okay, that makes sense. Rely on certifications and look for transparency. What's the next tenet?
Next up is environmental sustainability. This broadens the focus beyond human ethics to the planet itself. It demands we consider the total environmental footprint of an item, its entire life cycle.
The whole life cycle, from beginning to end.
Exactly. From cradle to grave, or ideally cradle to cradle. We need to ask, were the raw materials renewable? Were they recycled? Were they extracted responsibly?
Okay.
Then what about the manufacturing process? Was it highly polluting? Did it consume vast amounts of energy or water? And then critically, What happens at the end of the product's useful life? Is the item designed to be durable and repairable? Is it biodegradable? Is it easily recyclable? Or is it destined for the landfill after a short time?
This sounds like it connects to the idea of the circular economy.
Absolutely. It champions the circular economy, moving away from that old, linear take, make, dispose model that dominates so much of our current system.
So what's the goal of a circular economy?
The goal is to design waste out of the system from the beginning, to keep products and materials in use for as long as possible at their highest value, and ultimately to regenerate natural systems rather than degrading them.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think of companies that design products for easy disassembly and repair, or companies that offer take-back programs for their old products so they can reuse the materials or refurbish the item. Patagonia's worn wear program is a great example.
Got it. Designing for durability, repairability, and reuse. Okay, what's the final tenet?
The final tenet moves beyond just avoiding harm, you could say, to actively supporting aligned values. This is where consumption becomes a really powerful tool for positive social and cultural change.
Oh, so?
It's about deliberately choosing to spend your money with businesses that reflect the specific kind of world you want to build.
This sounds like where B Corp come in. You mentioned them earlier. That seems like a crucial piece of knowledge here. What exactly is a B Corp, and why should a conscious consumer prioritize them?
Right, B Corp. It stands for Benefit Corporation, and honestly, it's currently the gold standard, the highest level of verification available for a company's overall social and environmental performance, accountability, and transparency.
Higher than other certifications.
It's more comprehensive. To become a certified B Corp, a company has to undergo this really rigorous assessment. It's not easy. They measure the company's impact across 5 key areas.
Which are?
Governance, how the company is run; workers, how it treats its employees; community, or its relationship with its local and global community; environment, its environmental footprint; and customers, how it treats its customers ethically.
Wow. So it's not just like a marketing slogan. It's a full audit of their practices.
It's a deep audit. And crucially, B Corps legally commit to considering the impact of their decisions on all stakeholders, employees, community, environment, not just on maximizing profits for shareholders. That's a fundamental legal difference.
That commitment really separates the truly dedicated companies from those just doing a bit of, greenwashing.
It absolutely helps. And supporting aligned values goes beyond just B Corp too. It means intentionally seeking out businesses that maybe champion specific social goals you care about.
Like what?
Like supporting Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, LGBTQ+-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, or choosing companies that explicitly donate a set percentage of their profits to specific charitable causes you believe in.
Okay, so using your spending to actively promote equity and support causes.
Exactly. Now, philosophically, this outward focus, this concern for the collective good, it connects pretty directly to some established ethical frameworks.
Such as this.
Well, you can see clear links to utilitarianism, for instance.
Utilitarianism.
Yeah.
The greatest good for the greatest number. Right.
That's the core idea. When you're choosing between products, the utilitarian calculus would suggest you choose the option that produces the best overall consequences, benefiting not just yourself, but maybe the workers in the supply chain, the local communities affected, and the global environment we all share.
So it's optimizing for collective well-being.
Yes. And psychologically, the benefit for the individual doing this is actually massive. It helps reduce cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance. Explain that.
It's that uncomfortable mental tension, that internal conflict that arises when your actions don't align with your deeply held beliefs or values. For example, if you strongly believe in protecting human rights and preserving the environment, but then you regularly buy products made, with questionable labor practices or from environmentally destructive materials, that creates dissonance. It feels bad.
Right, that feeling of hypocrisy almost.
Exactly. So consciously aligning your purchases with your values resolves that internal tension. It fosters a deep sense of integrity, of wholeness, and contributes significantly to well-being.
And maybe it helps counter that feeling of powerlessness too.
Absolutely. That's the other huge psychological benefit. In the face of these massive, overwhelming global problems, climate change, inequality-conscious consumerism provides this tangible, immediate sense of agency.
Agency how?
Your choices, your dollars, even if they feel small individually, collectively create a verifiable market shift. It moves you from being just a passive, perhaps worried observer into an active agent of change, however modest. You're doing something.
Okay, so we've really dug into the internal optimization of minimalism and the external accountability of conscious consumerism.
Yeah.
Now, let's bring them face to face. Let's explore the fascinating and maybe sometimes frustrating points where these two powerful philosophies meet, diverge, and maybe even clash.
Yeah, it's really vital before we get into the conflict to just hammer home that fundamental divergence in motivation.
Okay, recap that for us.
Minimalism's primary drive is internal. The goal is optimizing your stress levels, your finances, your mental clarity. Any positive external effects, like consuming less overall, are often a happy byproduct, but not usually the main driver.
Right. Personal optimization first.
Whereas conscious consumerism's goal is fundamentally external. It's about optimizing global impact worker well-being, planetary health. Any personal benefit, like feeling good about your choices, is often a result of that externally focused action.
Internal peace versus external impact. Got it.
And the moment of truth, where this difference really becomes clear, arrives when we apply the core question test to a real-world decision.
Okay, let's use that example again. You need to replace a winter coat that's completely worn out.
Right. The committed minimalist starts with that strict internal vetting process.
Okay, what do they ask?
First, do I truly need this coat? Is my current one absolutely beyond repair? Can I borrow one? If yes, I really need a new one. Does this potential new coat fit my actual lifestyle needs? Is it incredibly high quality? Is it built to last, ideally for a decade or more?
So the focus is on necessity, longevity, utility, minimizing future consumption.
Exactly. Minimizing future purchases is paramount. Now, the committed conscious consumer, assuming they've also established the need, their focus shifts entirely to external criteria.
Right.
They're asking, is the insulation material vegan? Or if it's down, is it certified by the Responsible Down Standard? Is the outer fabric made from recycled materials or maybe organic cotton? Where is the factory? Was it in a country with strong labor laws, or are the specific factory conditions verified by a trusted third-party auditor like Fairware Foundation? Is the company a B Corp? Are they offsetting their carbon footprint from shipping?
Wow, a completely different set of questions.
Totally different. And here is where the potential for conflict really arises. Because in the actual marketplace we all shop in, the answers to the minimalist's questions and the conscious consumer's questions rarely align perfectly in one single product.
Yeah, it's usually a trade-off, isn't it?
Almost always. So let's create a genuine dilemma, a trade-off scenario.
Okay, hit me.
All right. Say you find coat A. It's incredibly durable, like famously rugged, built like a tank, should last 20 years, but maybe the company's sourcing practices are a bit opaque. Maybe it's mass-produced in a country with known labor issues. And it costs, say, $150.
Okay, code A, durable, cheap, ethically questionable.
Now, coat B. This one is ethically sourced, definitely. Made from 100% certified organic and recycled materials, sewn in a fair trade certified factory by a certified B Corporation. Ticks all the conscious boxes. But maybe the materials, while ethical, aren't quite as bomb-proof. Maybe it'll realistically last 5-7 years with heavy use, and it costs $700.
Coat B, ethical, sustainable, expensive, maybe less durable. Okay, so if you're trying to be both a minimalist and a conscious consumer, which coat do you buy? This is tough.
This is the critical intersection, the real-world friction point. The hardcore minimalist might actually argue that coat A, the durable one, is the most responsible choice overall.
Why? Because it lasts longer.
Exactly. Because its superior durability minimizes future resource extraction, manufacturing energy, shipping impacts, and replacement costs down the line. Preventing future consumption is, in itself, a powerful form of sustainability.
Okay, that's a valid point from a resource perspective.
But the dedicated conscious consumer would likely argue that coat B, despite the much higher initial cost and potentially shorter lifespan, is the only acceptable choice. Because it doesn't compromise on human rights or environmental ethics today. They'd argue that supporting ethical production now is more important than potential resource savings years down the road, especially if Code A supports exploitative systems.
Wow. You can see how someone could argue passionately for either one based on which philosophy they prioritize more.
Absolutely. And this dilemma perfectly highlights the insufficiency of relying solely on one of these approaches.
Yeah, you could end up in weird places.
Totally. You could be the perfect minimalist. Maybe you own only 30 items total. super disciplined. But if those 30 items are all the cheapest, fastest fashion, most environmentally destructive options available, well, your internal life might feel optimized, but your external footprint is pretty toxic. You're not really a conscious consumer.
Right. You've minimized personal clutter, but maximized negative impact.
Conversely, you could be the super dedicated conscious consumer. Your house is just jammed wall to wall with thousands of items. But hey, they're all organic cotton, all locally sourced ceramics, all fair trade certified coffee beans. Your external impact per item might be great, but your personal life is probably a financial mess. You're drowning in stuff you don't need, and you're definitely not reaping the benefits of minimalism.
So neither extreme really achieves that holistic, intentional life we're talking about.
Exactly. Neither outcome fully reflects a truly harmonious, well-rounded financial philosophy.
So the true transformation, the sweet spot, lies in somehow combining these two powerful forces.
That's where we land. We call this hybrid approach the conscious minimalist.
The conscious minimalist, okay.
This approach, we believe, achieves the maximum positive impact, both personal freedom and global responsibility. And the key is treating these philosophies not as opposing forces, but as sequential filters.
Sequential filters, like a process.
A specific two-step process. And crucially, the sequence really matters here. You absolutely must start with the minimalist filter first.
Okay, step one, apply the minimalist filter. Internal. Walk me through it.
Before you even think about brands or ethics, you have to ask those tough internal questions. Do I truly need this thing? Is it essential? Will it add substantial, demonstrable, long-term value to my specific, carefully curated life?
And if the answer is no?
If the answer is anything less than a clear, resounding yes, the process stops right there, immediately. Stop. You don't buy it, you don't acquire it. The decision not to consume is the single most sustainable, most minimalist, most financially sound action you can possibly take. Zero consumption, zero cost, zero clutter, zero negative impact. You've just solved the entire problem before it even started.
Wow, okay. That puts huge power in just saying no based on need.
It does. Now, only if the item passes that rigorous minimalist test, only if the answer is yes, I genuinely need this and it will add significant value, only then do you proceed to step two.
Which is?
Step two. Apply the conscious consumer filter. External. No, because you've already established the genuine need, you ask. Okay, given that I need this, how can I acquire the version that is the most ethical, the most sustainable, and the most aligned with my values within my realistic means?
So you use your buying power, but only on things you've already determined you truly need.
Precisely. You leverage your purchasing power to positively influence the market and support better practices, but only for necessary acquisitions.
This fusion, this two-step filter, it seems to resolve that core conflict we identified.
You think it does. By drastically reducing the sheer number of purchases first, minimalism, and then ensuring that the few purchases you do make are maximized for positive, ethical, and environmental impact.
Conscious consumerism.
It moves beyond just feeling guilty or restricted and enters the realm of truly intentional, values-driven living. It's about conscious choice at every stage. So, okay. We've laid out these two powerful philosophies, minimalism and conscious consumerism, and how they can intersect. But how do you, the listener, actually synthesize these big ideas? How do you build a personal financial philosophy that truly works for you without getting trapped by rigid labels or, feeling like you have to live up to some impossible Instagram ideal?
Yeah, how do you make it practical and personal?
It absolutely has to start with self-reflection, deeply understanding your own unique current circumstances, your primary needs, and your core values.
Okay, so we want you, the listener, to maybe pause and think about 3 essential self-reflection questions. These can help create your own tailored blueprint.
Exactly. The first question to ask yourself is, what is my primary pain point right now?
Pain point.
Yeah. Is your daily life currently dominated by just overwhelming physical clutter?
Right.
Is it crippling debt? Is it mental exhaustion from managing too much stuff or too many financial obligations? If those are your biggest struggles, if that's where the most pain is, then honestly, you almost have to start with minimalism.
Why start there?
Because minimalism provides the most immediate, visible relief for those specific problems. Clearing out the physical clutter, simplifying finances, reducing debt, it creates the necessary mental space and, frankly, the fiscal bandwidth to even begin considering the complex ethical questions that conscious consumerism brings up.
Right. It's hard to worry about fair trade coffee origins when you feel like you're drowning in credit card bills from impulse buys last month.
Precisely. Address the immediate crisis first. Get some breathing room.
Okay, pain point first. What's the second question?
The second question is, what are my deepest held non-negotiable values?
Non-negotiable value.
Yeah, think about what truly drives you at your core. Do you feel a profound, unavoidable call towards climate action, towards social justice, towards supporting your local community, or maybe specific marginalized groups? If these kinds of ethical or social values are really your guiding stars, the things you feel most passionate about, then leading with conscious consumerism, even if it's initially on a smaller scale, might feel more authentic and ultimately more sustainable for you in the long run, even if the decluttering part happens more slowly.
So it's about aligning with what motivates you most deeply.
Right. Which approach resonates more with your fundamental why?
Got it. And the third question. This one brings us back down to earth, doesn't it?
It does. It's the unavoidable reality check. What is my current financial situation?
We have to be realistic about the money.
We absolutely must acknowledge the financial differences between these approaches, especially at the start. Minimalism, by its very nature of reducing consumption, is often a powerful, immediate tool for debt reduction and boosting savings. It can be the faster path towards financial stability or independence simply because it radically cuts expenditure.
Thus, spending equals more savings, basically.
Right. Conscious consumerism, on the other hand, while morally imperative for many of us, it often carries a higher upfront cost per item.
Yeah, we have to be honest about that.
We do. Organic produce usually costs more than conventional. Ethically made furniture or clothing is almost always more expensive, sometimes significantly more than the fast fashion or mass-produced alternative.
So if your budget is really stretched thin right now,
then your immediate focus probably needs to be on the minimalism side, reducing the sheer quantity of what you buy before you can realistically afford to fully commit to optimizing the quality and ethics of every single purchase via conscious consumerism.
start with less, then work towards better.
For many people, that's the most practical sequence.
Okay, so considering your pain points, your core values, and your budget, for the vast majority of us, it sounds like the most practical and impactful route is likely that blend the conscious minimalist path.
We think so, yes.
So can we suggest a practical, maybe structured sequence for someone wanting to start putting this blend into action, like today?
Absolutely. Let's outline a few starting steps. Step 1. Begin with a minimalist purge.
The purge. Where do you start?
Don't try to do your whole house at once. That's overwhelming. Start with one defined zone. Your closet is classic. Or maybe just the kitchen counters. Or one bookshelf.
Okay, start small and contained. Why is this the essential first step?
Because you simply cannot make smart, conscious, intentional decisions about bringing new things into your life while you are still physically and mentally burdened by the clutter and unconscious decisions of the past.
Wait, gotta clear the decks first.
This purge does a few crucial things. It fundamentally resets your relationship with stuff. It forces you to confront what you own, maybe even honor the resources that went into making those items. And practically, it can generate immediate savings if you sell some of the excess, or at least free up space and mental energy.
Okay, purge first. What's step 2?
Step 2, adopt a 30-day purchase pause and audit.
A 30-day pause. On everything.
Maybe not on essential consumables like food or medicine, but for any non-essential, non-consumable item you think you need or want: clothes, electronics, books, home goods. Impose a mandatory 30-day waiting period before buying.
What does that achieve?
It's incredibly effective at killing the impulse buy. That immediate, gotta have it now feeling usually fades within a few days, let alone 30.
Okay, kills the impulse. What about the audit part?
During that 30-day waiting period, you actively subject the potential purchase to that 2-filter system we discussed. Filter 1, the minimalist test. After 30 days, do I still feel I absolutely need this? Has the desire persisted? Filter 2, the conscious consumer test. If yes, I still need it, now I do the research. What is the most ethical, most sustainable version of this item that I can realistically find and afford?
So the pause creates space for both need assessment and ethical research.
Exactly. This simple 30-day habit transforms buying from an emotional impulse into a deliberate, researched, audited process. It forces savings because you're waiting, and it empowers your choices because you're doing the homework.
That's really practical. Okay, step 3.
Step 3, maybe set an ethical spending threshold.
A threshold. What do you mean?
This is about acknowledging your budget reality and prioritizing where your conscious consumerism efforts have the biggest impact. You might decide, for example, that for small, inexpensive items, say under $50, your primary focus might remain the minimalist ideal. Is it truly needed? Is it reasonably durable? Low cost might be a factor.
Okay.
But for larger, more significant purchases, maybe items over $200, like a new appliance, a piece of furniture, or that winter coat, you commit to spending the extra time and potentially extra money necessary to meet high ethical and sustainability standards, using certifications and research.
So it allows you to focus your ethical energy and budget where it counts most without getting bogged down and agonizing over every tiny purchase.
Exactly. It makes conscious consumerism feel more manageable and less like an all-or-nothing pressure. It's about strategic impact within your means.
Okay, purge, pause, and audit, set a threshold. That sounds like a solid start.
Right.
Is there one final rule?
Yes. And it's arguably the most important rule of all, the one we absolutely cannot stress enough. Focus on progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Why is that so crucial?
Because this is an evolution. It's a journey, not flipping a switch overnight. You will make mistakes. There will be times when maybe the ethically perfect option isn't available where you live, or it's genuinely outside your budget right now, or you just slip up and make an impulse buy.
And that's okay.
That is not a failure. That is reality. The goal isn't flawless, 100% perfect execution from day one. That's impossible and leads to burnout and guilt.
So what is the goal?
The goal is consistent, evolving intentionality. It's about learning, adapting, making slightly better choices over time. Every single purchase decision becomes a new opportunity to practice, to try and align your spending a little more closely with your values. That gradual progress is what makes you a more effective financial philosopher in your own life.
That takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
It's about the direction, not immediate perfection. So ultimately, when we boil it down, both minimalism and conscious consumerism, especially when blended, they're really profound tools, aren't they? Tools for living a more examined life.
They absolutely are. They compel us, maybe force us to pause before we just reflexively buy something.
Yeah.
They turn that mindless, often automatic action into a mindful, deliberate choice. They make us define, maybe for the first time, who we really are, what we truly believe in.
And then they provide this practical framework, these filters, for actually using our money, our resources, to build a life that's in alignment with that definition.
And that intentional application of resources, time, money, energy aligned with your values, that is the very essence of a financial philosophy.
It's the understanding that how we allocate our money isn't just transactional. It's a direct, measurable reflection of our purpose, our desire for freedom, and the impact we hope to have on the world around us.
This has been a really deep dive into two philosophies that honestly offer such a clear path out of that relentless consumer treadmill. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of intentionality. And remember, listener, that this entire journey, whether you find yourself drawn more strongly to maybe the calming simplicity of subtraction offered by minimalism, or the powerful sense of purpose that comes from conscious consumerism, it all starts with one small yet incredibly radical question,
Which is
just asking yourself, why?
Why?
Why am I thinking about buying this? Why do I still own this thing I never use? Why does this company deserve my money?
Those answers, those why answers.
They start to form the blueprint for a richer, more intentional life. A life measured not just by the sheer quantity of what you possess, but by the profound intention behind every single item you choose to keep and every single dollar you choose to spend.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, building on everything we've discussed. If every single purchase you make truly is a vote for the kind of world you want to live in,
Yeah.
how radically different might your ballot look next week if you genuinely believed, deep down, that your choices were powerful enough to actually shift entire markets?
Something to think about.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.